Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Tuesday with yours truly, Lizzy Morris, your host on Morning Inspirations, coming to you at a new time at 8 o'clock because there's a lot of things that are going on right now, and I'm wanting to experiment with this timing because it does give me a whole bunch of my morning back. But we'll see if it works. I'm going to be looking for feedback and I'm going to be putting out surveys so I'll understand, is 8 o'clock the time for my LinkedIn family or not? Maybe you guys are going to just stick with the replays. Well, let's talk about where we are in March. It is Women's Month. It's all about the ladies this month. It's a fabulous thing. All about the ladies. And because Tuesday is today, we're going to talk about looking through the lens. Because if you've been watching the show, you've seen how we've emerged to kind of topics that fill the day. And Tuesday is about deciding on the frame, the lens that you want to see the world through, which is a very interesting way to think, right? Because you're kind of like, well, what is the lens I want to look at right now? How do I want to see the world? I often talk about framing. And you hear me talk about this all the time, like let's frame our world. So you're looking right now and you can see in front of you an empty frame, right? It's got no specific thing with it. It's empty. It's a beginning. It's a canvas and anything is possible. Sadly, as women, though, we have this habit of being covered by a lens. Now, here's the thing about this lens. This lens isn't necessarily a lens that we choose, so it's not us magnifying how we want to see the world. It's allowing other people to tell us how we should see ourselves. And that's really not what it's about in 2021. It is definitely not about you believing that you have to be defined by somebody else's lens. Who you are has to be labeled by somebody else. No. Who you are has to be labeled by you, has to be defined by you. And you today, as a woman, the choice is in your hands. What lens do you want to look at yourself through? And that's what we're going to talk about today. The lenses that we look at ourselves through and how to adjust those lenses so that they mean so much more for us. So to begin with, we're going to go into our gratitude, obviously meditation, but we're going to do it a little bit different today. I want you to think about all the reasons why you're grateful you're a woman, or there are women around you, or that the packaging of the female exists. So I'm going to give you several pictures, and we're going to still have our meditation music going, but I want you to focus on being grateful for all the women who have ever been in your life, for all the women you have encountered in different scenarios at different times. How has that affected you? How has that made your life that much better? What have women offered you, gifted you, or even taught you? So I want you to begin to think about that as we go into our meditation. What are you grateful for that a woman has done for you? What has being around women taught you? What is the demonstration that you've seen women have for each other that you can pull lessons out of? And as you've seen time keep going, how much more have you seen women come to the forefront? And are you supporting women having voices? And are you supporting women raising their hands and being heard and being seen? Are you laughing alongside us at all that we've achieved and all that we are? Are you celebrating the diversity that has come within the spectrum of what is a woman and who is a woman? And are you seeing our beauty in all the hues that we come in? Are you grateful? And are you smiling that we exist, that we're seated at your tables, that we're often your traveling companions, and that we have a voice? When you think about women, why today are you grateful? Today, I will be grateful that I have the privilege of being surrounded by many different women from many different places with many different experiences. Today, yes, I am grateful that I can count myself among these women. Yes, I am grateful that I am a woman. And today I choose, as an act of my will, to celebrate the beauty of being a woman. Thank you so much for being with me as we went through celebrating and being grateful for the wonderful genius that is woman. Now, today, as I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about all the women who have inspired me, living women, women who've gone on, and I was in a room earlier today that was celebrating women and asking you to tell your story about women who've inspired you. So I was relating a story about my grandmother. Now, sadly, both of my grandmothers have passed on, but I was extremely close to my maternal grandmother. And she had a very feisty spirit. She was a very small lady, but with an amazing feisty spirit. And many times we always used to think of her being horribly temperamental. Right? She didn't take garbage from anybody, no matter how big you were or whatever your size. She would always have her voice and let you know what her opinion was in any situation at any point in time. Um, she was brave, not courageous, brave, because I don't believe my grandmother had fear. She just didn't exhibit it in any way. But there was something she used to say to us. And of course, grandmothers are really good because what they're able to do is make every grandchild feel like they're getting a totally unique story and that you are the most special and, you're the prized grandchild and there isn't another grandchild that's as great as you. So you believe that, right? You kind of eat that up. And one of the things she used to say to me was, no matter what's going on, don't take the count. Now, at her funeral, my cousins were there, etc. And they were sharing their stories, and they all, when they got up to say something, quoted this thing that I thought was so unique to me, and said how much it inspired them. And now that she's gone, it's the one thing they'll always hear in their head, no matter what they're going through. Don't take the count. Now, the concept around it is if you've ever watched boxing, When the boxers are going and they're knocking out, right? And you get knocked to the floor and you see the boxer on the floor and then you see the umpire going, 1, 2, 3, and they're counting, right? In that count, it can give the person on the floor just a chance to kind of catch their breath. But if they don't get up before the count is ended, then the match is over. And the other person has won. So what she was guiding us to was there are going to be situations that will knock you down. You will be down. You're going to be down there and it's going to seem like everything is over and nothing else can possibly happen. And this is the end of your story. However, don't take the count. Meaning find something on the inside of you to raise yourself back up. So even if you're hobbling around and even if you can't move forward and your stance is really rocky, at least let them see you standing. And when I look at women today, you go through the years of us wanting to have our voice and pushing ourselves forward. Many times we have been knocked down. The women's movement didn't start yesterday. It's been going and going. And in many cases, before it ever came to the forefront, women were meeting in parlors, in the backs of churches and encouraging each other and giving each other advice, and writing articles and doing things, but just never putting their name and claim to it. Because at that point in time, they weren't considered anything else above really property owned by somebody else, somebody's wife, somebody's mother, but never a somebody in their own right. And so we fought for years. The fight goes on. It goes on for a sense of respect and equality across the genre that is woman today, giving us a voice and acknowledging that our voice is powerful and acknowledging that our voice is necessary and that it contributes, and then paying us the same way that a guy is paid, in many cases for doing less. And yes, all of us as women who have risen up all have this kind of sense of feminism that's on the inside of us, because we know even if we aren't fighting today, there's a possibility we're going to have to fight tomorrow. And so right now, we're enjoying the space. So you can see in most women and even if you don't know a woman personally who has told you her story, just go on the internet and Google. You will see how many women refuse to take that count. How many women, regardless of what was going on, even though they got knocked down, and sometimes they were getting knocked down by family members internally, the abuse that's been done to women, molestation that's been done to women over the years, and they've never raised their hand and they've never had a voice for anybody to be there for them, for anybody to say, no, this was wrong. For so many years, women have had to fight in this space and been knocked down. And some women, sadly, took that count and didn't tell anybody anymore and didn't fight and just accepted that it was okay for them to be victimized. It was okay for them to be silenced. But it's not okay. It's never okay. So if you're a young woman or you're a woman in a career space and you're in a genre in your career where there's not many like you, don't take that count. Keep pushing your voice forward. Keep advocating for yourself. And let me say this. When you arrive at the place where you're like, okay, this is good. Look at me. They're accepting me now. Reach back, because the journey isn't over. Reach back and bring another woman with you. One of the weaknesses amongst us as females often is because we fought so hard to get where we did get to. We often want to inflict the pain on our own sisters. And that's where we've got to pause and really look at the lens. Have we now taken on a lens full of negativity? Have we taken on a lens of exclusion that says, no, unless you went my path, you did it my way, you don't deserve to be here? Let me ask you to pause. Pause in that thought. Pause in that action. And think to the hope you wish you had. Put hope on that lens. Think about that woman who's looking for a mentor, who's looking for somebody to teach them how to navigate so they can be as successful and even more successful than where you are. And that's okay, because we're here for each other as women, because every woman's path at some point leads to struggle. Every woman's path at some point puts them in the ring with a situation or a circumstance or a person that is aiming to knock them out. And we've got to be there with some love, loving them the way we wish somebody had loved us when we were in that ring, loving them and giving them advice the way we wish somebody had given us advice. You see, the only reason I am and we are as women where we are is because we took some lesson from somewhere. Somebody said something to us. Maybe it was a grandmother, maybe it was an aunt, maybe it was a magazine article, but there was something that you got. And that something made a difference for you. It seeded in you change. It seeded in you growth. Why not be that growth, that seed of hope for another woman? Why not allow yourself to be open enough to let that happen? This morning, as I was thinking about the show today, and I was thinking about womanhood, and I've been up since 4 a.m. this morning, and I've been, in and out of rooms and reading articles and thinking and kind of pondering my day and working. This came to me. Let me share it with you. Yes, I am a woman, and I can't say I've always liked it. Can't say I've always wanted it, but it's the packaging I've learned to fill. Yes, at times, it's actually been my wound, and at times it's been a weapon used to keep me on my knees. At times it's been a muzzle that didn't allow me to speak or even breathe. But today, it's my roar. Today I saw, yes, I am a woman, worthy, open, majestic, adaptable, notable, and needed. Yes, I am a woman worthy, a woman open, a woman majestic, a woman adaptable, a woman notable, and a woman needed. Yes, I am a woman. Although I can't say I've always liked it, and I can't say I've always wanted it, but it's the packaging I've learned to fill. Yesterday, I celebrate the fact I am a woman unapologetically. It's me. Now, I was thinking about my journey into filling my space as a female. And you may say, what do you mean filling your space as a female, Lizzy? Well, I haven't I haven't always liked the fact that I was a girl, because I thought being a girl wasn't great. And I just saw that girls everywhere around me, women around me at the time I was growing up, weren't getting the best of treatment. They were like second-class citizens, and I hated it. I absolutely loathed it. And I was not going to be treated that way. I was going to be that one that was different. That's how I felt. So I was willing to keep fighting against the norms and fighting against everything because I would be accepted. You will make room for me. This was my thing. And it created in me this huge amount of fight. I was always going to be fighting. I was always going to be fighting. I was always going to be pushing because I would have my voice. Sadly, well, let's call it the journey of life. There's situations that emerge, boxing rings you get into with circumstances, right? And situations that you're not prepared for. And I've been in those rings where I've had the wind knocked out of me mentally, from emotional wounds, from disappointments, from betrayals, from having expectations of people that they didn't know I had of them and they didn't fulfill. And those wounded me. And it meant I was out. I didn't take the count, but I was down there for like 9, and a half. And it was at that 10, just before the 10, I got up. Although sometimes I got up and I was crawling on my knees. The time I found myself in a situation where I was being victimized because I was a woman. I've been in tech the most of my career, right? And I remember being told by a particular company I worked for many, many years ago, very large company that still exists today, that as a woman in IT, and I was doing hardware, first line, second line, third line support at the time. Okay, so you guys know that's printers back in the day, that's going onto desks, etc. But I had to show up at work with a skirt suit on. So that meant crawling onto those tables, connecting those wires. I was exposed, no matter how close I kept my legs together, right? As you're reaching in a skirt suit, the skirt is going to hike. And certain packaging that comes with being a woman hikes it a little bit more based on where your hips or your thighs are, so to speak. Yet, that was normal and accepted. And all the guys in tech who were in the same positions as me were able to wear jeans. But no, not me. I had to show up in work in a skirt suit. That's where I'm coming from as woman, battles that you fought. And things that you digested and just thought, well, it's just the way it is. I hope today there is no woman anywhere that is saying that, well, it's just the way it is. It is not just the way it is. It is the way it was, but it is not the way it needs to be. We have the ability as women to make it different. See, I have this belief. And those of you who've heard me speak at different places will have heard me express this at some point if I've been brought in to talk about women. And it's this: I believe women are like bodies of water. Some are streams, some are waterfalls, some are even swamps, but we're all bodies of water. And we're flowing in this direction called the journey of life. And there are times as we meet, we come together and we form sisterhood. Sisterhood doesn't care about the pigmentation of our female packaging. It looks at the fact that we are women, and it forms this ocean of power. Now, if you think about a regular ocean, those of you like to go to the seaside and, the Mediterranean, you've seen the ocean. The ocean is huge. It's beautiful. And on the top, it just looks so inviting. But get caught in the ocean when its undercurrent kicks in. It will suck you underneath and it will destroy you. But yet, the ocean brings forth such amazing amount of life. There's corals, there's history. It keeps secrets ready for the right time for it to be built and the right time for people to see it and reveal it. The ocean is amazing. That's us as women when we come together in sisterhood. Sisterhood and collaboration, not competition. See, we have got to get to a point as women where we see the power in our connecting in sisterhood and the power in us supporting each other. Together, we are that ocean. We make so much more possible. There's a fabulous quote by Maya Angelou. And you guys know I love Maya, and I'm going to dedicate one entire show to her. It's not this one, but I will be dedicating one entire show to Maya Angelou and her life. But there's a quote she has, and it says this: I've learned that no matter what happens or how bad it seems today, life goes on and it will be better tomorrow. It will be in some way, some shape or form. Now, we don't always see that and we don't believe it. But there's got to be somebody who believes that tomorrow can be better than today. There's got to be at least two so we can have a pair that believe that we can do things today, impact it in such a way, plant thoughts, plant change, that can be harvested in the tomorrows that are coming, even if those tomorrows aren't stages that we're able to be on. But a woman somewhere will be able to take advantage of it. And a woman somewhere will have a louder voice and a louder presence because of the work we do today. And a little girl in a school somewhere will have a different ambition and believe that she can be anything. When we look at Camilla, did Camilla grow up thinking she could be a vice president of a country? Was that in her spectrum at the time? What if there weren't all the women who had gone before her, pushing those boundaries, saying no, treat us, no, see us here, see us and acknowledge our presence, acknowledge the fact we have brains, we have brilliance, acknowledge us. If there weren't two or more women coming together consistently with that message and with that thought that they were going to do today, even if it cost them enough to impact tomorrow, for every little girl who chooses to continue to be a woman, we can make it a great place for us. Now, for many of us, we think it's good. It's like, do you know what it used to be like? Continuous improvement. We still have yet to inspect and adapt and make it better. Make tomorrow better than today. Make that your personal mantra, that I choose today to do whatever is necessary to make today seed a better tomorrow. You've got the power to do it. You've got the ability to do it. We have the platforms that we can do it on. But it's up to us as to whether or not we believe change is worth taking the hits, being down on that ring floor, but still refusing to take that count so that somebody else tomorrow has a better day. Somebody who looks like me, somebody who looks like you. A woman able to have a better day tomorrow because of the things we choose to do today. So I want to encourage you to keep on going. Keep on making impact, even when you think you're not. A little small thing you say could make such a difference to somebody. So say it anyway. Because we've got such a big mission in front of us. My humanity is beautiful. Your humanity is beautiful. Our humanity is beautiful. And this Tuesday, we are here together, looking through a lens, and we're deciding intentionally to shift that lens and to shift that lens to see the beauty that is the sisterhood of women and to be grateful for it. So I leave you again with the thought of being grateful and showing gratitude to the women around you today. Be grateful for them. Every woman that you see on a platform, say, I'm grateful you're really here. Thank you for being you. Take care, guys. And thank you so much for always showing up, whether you watch now or you watch later. But thank you for doing this thing called the journey of life with me. And as we're doing this thing called this journey of life, and you're experiencing and I'm experiencing, we're sharing and we're making tomorrow better by living it today. Finding those connections that make great connections and make greater collaborations. Intentionally doing everything that we're doing. Thank you so much for being with me. My name is Lizzy Morris, and I will see you again tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock. I'll be here. I hope you will be too.